Hello and welcome back to my followers, people who follow me, listen to my videos, read my newsletter. Welcome back. If it's your first time coming here to get information about San Marcos market in some obviously specific areas that I enjoy covering, welcome. If you haven't done so, please subscribe. And if this information is not pertinent to you, maybe you want to share, and I'd appreciate if you can do that. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Anyway, let's get some stuff out of the way. I'm going to try to do this one a little different because I'm redoing the video. I'm known to speak a little too fast and make things a little too long. That's because I'm just passionate about the things I talk about. And I believe I'm bringing in information that's really important, specifically for home sellers, because really 99% of the time, that's what I represent. And that I've been doing this for 23 years. My specialty is getting homes sold quickly, getting homes sold efficiently, and getting you the absolute top dollar your home can bring within the shortest time frame. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But just for those who don't know who I am, let's flash it here. My name is Orzhel. I'm a broker owner of Realty Max, and we're going to cover some subjects here. As always, we always talk about the same important components, because a lot of times people come up to me and ask me the same question. And the question basically says, hey Leo, how is the market? And a lot of times I don't know how to answer that, because I always ask him, what are you trying to do? Because the agent, obviously the question is very vague. To me, the market is always good, right? So for example, if it's a buyer's market or the market's slow, it's a great time to buy and acquire real estate. If the market's hot, it's probably a good time, if you need to sell the property. So the market is always good. And I say that because real estate is an amazing investment. It's something you're going to be able to buy and more or less use as your piggy bank and move to your heirs when you pass away without any tax consequences. So there's many benefits to owning real estate. And I know a lot of people frown on realtors saying it's always a good time to buy, and it actually is always a good time to buy. It may not be always a good time to sell, but it's always a good time to buy. So with that said, let me bring you back to today's market. Today's market's pretty equal, right? Less inventory. We are in obviously coming up to Christmas. This is going to be my last video most likely for the year. This year has been great. I mean, like I said, the rates have been 6, 7, 5, and now they've jumped down to, let me grab this here, and now they've jumped down to, close to 6%. So the rates are definitely trending down at this point. There's a good chance they're going to continue trending down, and that's okay, right? It benefits obviously people buying. Regardless of which way you look at it, things are very expensive. So in order to buy an average type of property, let's say 8 to 900,000, which seems to be somewhat of a entry level in San Marcos, you have to make about $120,000 to $140,000 and put down probably 5 to 10%, right? If you're buying a property for $1 million and 1.2, you're probably gonna have to be 170, 160, and obviously have some money down. So things have gotten expensive. There's no way to kind of re-describe it or put any fairy dust on it. It is what it is. So when we look at the rates, they're dropping, and as I told you before, when should you sell? That's a question I get a lot of times. Should I put it in springtime? Or, to be perfectly honest, it really doesn't matter. You should be selling when you need to sell. Because the problem is, when you need to sell, you're going to have motivation, obviously, in the market. The buyer's going to have motivation, and we need to put those two components together to be able to put a deal together. Now, because if you're just testing the market, right, you're probably not going to do well. If you're looking at what sold before and you hire an agent to say, hey, this sold for 1.2 and I want 1.25 or something like that, maybe not. Again, there's many options for you as agents, right? You think Obviously, a lot of people have licenses. For example, I've been doing this for 23 years. So obviously, I've seen all kinds of markets. But one thing we know, we're doing things right. And the reason I know we're doing things right because of our stats. Still, if you look at the past I believe 5 years, we just did a study, we're still 6% over asking price on our sales. Our average time in the market is under a week because, as you know, we get things done over the first weekend. And we do this, and I hate to bring this chart back up, but if you're going to sell, you want to do it when you need to, right? Because right now, for example, we have holidays. Less people are looking. At the same time, the inventory is less. But then, again, you think about it, who would be looking for a house now, right? Someone that really needs a house, someone's motivated. So probably more motivated people are out looking now versus maybe springtime. Springtime, everybody's going to think the same way you're thinking. It's probably the best time to sell in the spring, and they're going to put the home on the market, which obviously going to kick up the inventory, and that's going to have an impact as well. So more buyers, more inventory. So everything kind of evens out. So ultimately, the key to selling is having a need to sell. If you don't have a need to sell, don't sell. Rent it out. You don't need to be in the market, right? I only work with people who absolutely need to sell, and they want to make sure they get the absolute top dollar because I have the systems, the approaches, the strategy, more important, that actually gets you to that point. And so we kind of looked at rates. Let's snap again. We're at 6.19 now. I've talked to you about this before. The most motivated people are always builders because they have construction loans, they have to move the product, and they're offering some amazing incentives, and some offering 3.9% financing because they're buying down your rate. Some have 2.9% for the first year, and then it kind of scales up, and the top is pretty low. So again, if you're trying to sell your house, a resale, you're going to be dealing with a builder that needs to move the product as well. They need to sell. They're motivated. Again, you shouldn't have your home on the market unless you need to sell, right? When you do need to sell, you have to make sure the person you're hiring has a great strategy. A great strategy is not overpricing the home or telling you what you want to hear. A great strategy is not hiring someone based on that they're charging you a little less money. Because when you do this, what happens is you're walking over tens of thousands just to save a couple of thousands, right? You're walking over dollars just to save pennies. It's a stupid, obviously, everything I say here is my opinion of 20 years seeing things, but it's a stupid way actually to do things. It's never a good thing to do, and you never win. And if you look at my other videos, I think one is commissions. You can look at that, and I expose the whole thing for you. The most important thing what I always rely on, and let me see if I can pop it up here, and you probably have seen this before. This is really represents the life of the listing. Your home goes on the market. You have a pool of buyers, right? Those buyers who are looking for your particular home are going to be immediately going to see your home if your home is properly positioned in the market, right? So you put your home on the market. Within the first week, you have maximum draw. You have maximum amount of activity that you can pull there, right? So if you go any further, that pool of buyers is going to move on. So now you may now your price, your value, it's all about demand, right? So as demand drops, your perceived value drops, and now you have to start possibly dropping the price, and because it's the toothpaste is out of the tube at this point, and a lot of times I liken this to the difference between Marshalls and Marshalls Rack. The difference is Marshalls has the newest style, people want it. And after a certain time, if it doesn't sell, it sits on the shelf, and has to be discounted. And now, instead of bringing to you or attracting people who are willing to pay the highest price, right? Really, people who are very motivated, now you are going to be attracting people who are looking for a bargain. You want to avoid that as much as you can. And really, after about 10 days, you're going to start going into the territory when you're going to be positioned to chase the market down. By the way, I want to bring this up. Let me see if I can find this really quickly here for you. I will be doing webinars for people who are thinking of selling. You want to use me, you don't want to use me. There's no obligation, obviously. But right here, see if I can bring it up here. Right here, you'll see lower right corner, scan this, get on a list. We'll be doing it hopefully every month, and I'll be talking about everything. Timing, I'll be talking about when is the best time to sell. I'm going to talk about strategy. I'm going to talk about leverage, because like I said, there's two components that really govern everything: supply and demand. That's the market, right? And unless you know how to really amp up demand, and that's what we do, or I do with our system, you're going to be basically an average Joe, probably playing games with your asset. Please don't do this. This is your most valuable asset. You got to get the most money out of it, right? Otherwise, I'm probably not the best person for you, okay? So in reality, really, if you look at all the aspects I'm covering here, you only have one chance to make the best first impression. That's why we help people with where we upfront some money upfront for right people. I think we have up to $25,000 who don't have the cash, and all the money is obviously locked into the equity. Again, this is for people who need to move, not want to move, obviously need to move, not just whatever. If you're thinking whatever, the market's you're going to attract the same people who are going to say whatever, because after a certain time, again, after being in the market for 2-3 weeks, you're going to be caught with your pants down. The market is going to have their way, because remember, people who are coming to you at this point have nothing to lose. Just imagine this. You're a buyer, you're coming in, you come into the house and you absolutely love the house, right? I mean, it's perfect for you. You ask how many days has this been in the market? And the agent tells you, hey, it's been in the market for a few days or a couple of days. There's other people interested. The chances of you not making a full price offer, or probably above full price offer, is zero. You're probably going to minimum do a full price offer, if not more. Let's take the same scenario. The house has been in the market for 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks, right? You come in, you love the house, it's perfect for you. You can just see being there and raising a family, whatever, right? And again, you ask a question and the agent said, well, we've been in the market for about 25, 30 days. Ask yourself, what are the chances of you making a full price offer at this point? My prediction is zero. You're probably going to lowball the heck out of that because you have nothing to lose. So I hope my explanation really brings this to so you can visualize the situation. So it's really important to know how to use the market in your favor versus the market using you, okay? So once again, if you are thinking of selling, sign up for the webinar. If you want to have one-to-one conversation, you're more than welcome to talk to me. We'll set up a discovery call. We can talk about strategy. Like I said, I totally have a different approach to doing things. I want to lead. I want to leverage. I want to have leverage for you so you can really take advantage of the market and get the absolute top dollar when your home is hot, when everybody sees it as high value, right? That's the best time to do. So that's all I want to talk about it. I just want to touch on the neighborhood in Santa Fe Hills, and then I'm going to jump on Discovery Hills, but I'm going to do it really briefly. Like I said, when I talk about, obviously, Santa Fe Hills, we're talking about smaller areas like Skylark, the newer area, Rancho Santa Elena, Foothills, Ridgeview. Regardless of that, like I said, we're all in kind of a very small community. Even Rancho Santa Elena, if you're listening to me, you already know you're right next to us, so you are affected by what happens here. So let me pop it up here and we'll go through it. Let's see. Boom. Try this again. Okay, so again. And by the way, if you want more details on things, let's see, there's a set page. Let me bring up another page here. In the back of this, there are QR codes. There are QR codes right here, right? So in the back, if you want to know specifically what's sold and have more detail, right here, you just scan this. If you're on Discovery, and like I said, we're covering obviously all the neighborhoods that I service primarily, and that's obviously Rancho Tesoro, Discovery Hills, Discovery Meadows, Buena Vida, Rosemont, right? So you have all those areas right here. You're more than welcome to pop back and look. But let me go back to where I was in the first place. Okay, so this is obviously Santa Fe Hills. As you can see, overall we have about 10 listings, but specifically in the older communities of Santa Fe Hills, we only have 1 and 2. Looks like 1 came up right now. I think this is a probate one. Pantera, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, 1652, asking price $975. Everything else, there's one, looks like Casita still on, been on for quite a few days, 50 days. They're trying to get $1,250,000. We'll see what happens on that. I have my own opinion, but I want to reserve it for later, right? There's a pending of Anita Leon that's also in the older community. But overall, as you can see, there's one Alta Court, 5-bedroom, 3-bath, with a view and just been completely gutted out and redone. It sold for $1,215,000, right? And this is almost similar property, slightly more square footage, but you can see, right, what the issue is. Again, you're more than welcome to look at this and kind of see what's going on. I think we had about 1, 2, 3, as you can see here, closings. So look, we will look at this. If you are thinking of selling and you think I can be an advantage for you, I think I can, but I only work with people who, I'm on the same page with, and I usually can only do 4 of this particular sales, what I call weekend sales. We can do we can do obviously traditional, but I try to, most people that come to me want to do the more convenient way, and the one that ultimately ends up bringing more money to them, because this is all about, it's a business, right? You want to make sure you get as much money as possible and you get the best value out of your real estate agent, right? When the home sits on the market for 30, 40, 50 days, you're not getting the best value. You're going to have to reduce the price. You're going to have to be realistic, do something. But again, people are not stupid. Everything is transparent now. We have Zillow, we have homes.com, we have realtor.com. You can look there and you can see exactly how many days you're in the market. You can see how many price reductions there is. In fact, I'll have a video for you at the end so you can do that. I think that's all I want to say. We're down to 17 minutes. I hope I slowed down. If you really are looking to get the most money for your home, I think our numbers speak for themselves. Our 4 or 5 year average, it's almost the same. I think we did about 4.5 years. It's still 6% over asking price, right? It's 106%. It's actually slightly higher than that. But obviously, I have to be doing something right. Our average days in the market literally are like 3-4 days, right? We get in, we get out. It has to be surgical. You just can't sit there and say, hey, I'm not in a hurry. I don't want to sell I don't want to give your home away. Nobody gives their home away, right? But I think what happens if you are going to have that attitude and you are not going to be properly positioned mentally of how the market works, and that's what we kind of tried to cover during our strategy sessions and what we're going to cover in our webinar. You're going to be in a position where you're just going to weaken your leverage. And at this point, okay, you want to keep the house, right? Nobody gives a house away. The house is an open market. Everybody knows about it, right? Using the right strategy, using the right real estate agent, you're going to get the absolute top dollar. There's no question about it at this particular moment. Now, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen a year from now. We have no idea. The market could go down, it can go up. We don't know. But if you need to sell, you have to have the right tools to be able to get the most for your house now. Anyway, before I go, I want to wish everybody absolutely wonderful, wonderful season greetings. I don't care if you're celebrating Christmas, or Merry Christmas to you, Hanukkah, or else you're celebrating. I want to wish everyone a wonderful new year. Hopefully you'll be blessed. I hope you will bless this year. I'm sure everybody had some things they had to overcome, me included. So like I said, I try to look forward. I try to stay positive. And if you're like I said, looking to sell, or you have someone that can benefit from this information, I'd appreciate if you can sell that. Share this, and if I can help you, feel free to set up a time for us to talk. Okay, all the best, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.